Hey, Peter. I hope you guys are doing well. Hopefully, you're transitioning to Denver life and not missing Hawaii too much. We miss you here, but hey, I wanted to get something in your hands just to kind of go over what we put together as far as your workout is concerned over the last couple of months, and really what you and I discussed the last couple of workouts. This is how I would structure your program. By no means do you have to abide by what I recommend. The cool thing is you're going to do it. You're going to do your workouts, and that's the most important thing. As the saying goes, it's the second best workout that you do consistently, right? Or the more basic workout plan that you do consistently is going to always trump the perfect plan that you never do, right? So you already have a good solid foundation. So whatever you choose to do is going to be great. But here's based on kind of what we put together, especially the last couple of sessions. This is how I would orchestrate your plan. So I'm going to dive right in. Again, I'm going to send you two videos, an A and a B. It'll just make it easier for you to kind of to view. I'm also again going to send you a list of these as well. And if you want, I can always put it in the spreadsheet. Whatever's going to work best for you. But Peter, let's start off. Now, this is how a lot of times I'll orchestrate my programs. Is I'll start off with a lower body bilateral or two leg lift. And for you, we decided on two that we thought were probably pretty good. Let me just straighten out this camera a little bit. That we thought were pretty good, for you to do at home. And without having to invest a whole lot into equipment or more bells and stuff like that. The first thing is that double dumbbell Romanian style deadlift. And this is where we're going to have the dumbbells in front, right? Two dumbbells are going to be in front. And imagine like you're almost like they're rolling pins. You're going to roll them up and down your thighs essentially. But this is a basic, fairly narrow stance, right? Feet about hip width, outside hip width, inside shoulder width apart, right? And you're just hinging, right? Start the breath, feel the expansion, lower into position. Exhale, drive through the feet to stand tall. Start the breath, feel the expansion, lower into position. Exhale, drive through the feet to stand tall. From the side, right? Start the inhale, feel the expansion, lower into position. Drive through the feet to stand tall. Now, we were working on this a little bit, Peter. Your tendency is you kind of want to squat it. So if you notice, right, at this point, the bells are being pushed forward by my thighs, right? We want our hips, we want those bells to drop straight down. But the tendency is sometimes we'll lock the knees and then we'll bend, and that just puts a lot of pressure on that low back. So you want to release the knees, keep the dumbbells as close as you can while sending the hips back. One of the ways that you can do this, and I don't want to screw up the camera angle too much, is if you stand kind of up against, just in front of a wall, and try this without dumbbells first, but here, I'll show you what I mean. So one of the ways that we can kind of trick our body into hinging or pushing the hips back is stand just in front of a wall and do a couple first where you're kind of finding, okay, that's about right about there. My knees are bent, my hips are going back. And so then I got a target I just want to push those hips back into, right? Start the breath, feel the expansion, tap the wall, drive to the feet to stand tall. Start the breath, feel the expansion, tap the wall, drive to the feet to stand tall. The other thing that tends to happen here is we'll load a little bit into your back. Anytime we're kind of hinging like this, we're gonna load to that back. So we always want to think about the ribs and hips stacking, right? Ribs and hips stacking, and that you're hinging from the hips, more that gorilla shape than super arched, right? You want to always be transferring that weight through the floor. So dumbbell, Romanian style deadlift. Again, with something like this, really 10 to 12, 10 to 15 repetitions. For you, again, like 3 working sets, 10 to 15 reps. Again, we're targeting most of the backside, what we call the posterior chain, hamstrings and glutes. right? Hamstrings and glutes. Um, then the other thing I would pair this with, and you can really do any press you want, but your incline dumbbell chest press is what I have laid out in your plan. So, and here's the thing, Peter, that we've talked about this before. You can do all this as a circuit. You can pair, like a lot of times with your programs, we'll pair two different exercises, two non-conflicting exercises. So in this case, we'll do your Romanian style deadlift, and then we'll do your incline dumbbell bench press, which is a great way to pair this. Then what I have in your program, and it's kind of the same idea, one of the old school repetition schemes is upper body 10 to 12 reps, lower body 12 to 15 reps. And that's just, and you can follow that pattern. You kind of do with your programming anyway, which is great. And then the next thing, or you can do just straight sets. And a lot of times, especially if you have the time, sometimes doing straight sets where you do a set, 10 to 15 reps, then you rest 60 to 90 seconds, and then you do the same set, the same exercise again, as opposed to supersetting. The beauty behind supersetting, pairing two exercises, two non-conflicting exercises, is you can get a lot more done in a shorter period of time. The downside is sometimes you're going to enter that next set somewhat fatigued, right? Just, maybe you're still a little out of breath. So there is value in just doing straight sets. And again, I'll leave it up to you. We typically do supersetting, and supersetting tends to work pretty well when you're doing more high repetition-based exercises. It's not great for if you're doing something like sets of 5 on something really heavy, like a bench press or a deadlift. But for sets of, 10 to 12, 12 to 15, supersetting works great. So again, for you, that dumbbell Romanian style deadlift, and then your incline dumbbell chest press. Then the next two exercises that I have programmed for you are is that Bulgarian split squat that we did. And with this, Peter, what you can, so the reason why we would do the Bulgarian split squat is it's more quad dominant. You're going to work your glutes too, but we're hitting more of the posterior chain where we're doing that really kind of high hinge with a Romanian style deadlift. And then we're going to do this Bulgarian split squat. And this is this guy, right? We did a lot over this last couple of months. The key with the setup here is you want this foot, the front foot, to be just in front of the leg of the front foot, or really the knee of the front foot, to be just in front of the knee of the lifted leg. As you can kind of see, this leg's just a little bit in front. That's going to give you a little bit more room as you go down into that position. Now, go down just as deep as feels right for you. I think we even had, at one point, we were using a yoga block, kind of standing on its end, just to limit the range of motion. You can always do that if you're a little uncertain. And if you start to feel anything in your low back or your knees, it may be worth doing that. Now we put the kettlebell in this case, your right hand. So we're loading the foot that's on the floor. We're loading that side of the body. So right foot's on the floor, dumbbells in my right hand, right? Start the breath, feel the expansion, lower into position, exhale and drive up, right? Start the breath, feel the expansion, lower into position, exhale and drive up. Now, Peter, you in the bottom of that squat, I want, in this case, if you look, it's kind of hard to see with the camera angle, but my shin and my torso are really making parallel lines. So my knees at 90 degrees, my hips at 90 degrees, that's about where I want that, right? I don't want my hips too high, and I don't want my too sharp of an angle at my knee and much less sharper angle at the hip, if that makes sense. You want even angles at the knee and the hip, and making parallel lines with your torso and your shin. So that's your Bulgarian split squat. Now we're going to pair your Bulgarian split squat, with your your choice. And you can even, honestly, you could do even both of these things because they don't really conflict. We're going to do that TRX fly, right? And this is that one where you're going to set up, palms are going to face each other, just like your row, but instead of coming in, we're going to have you open up, right? right? So you're going to pull and then open to the outside. Pull and then open to the outside, right? Same thing with this exercise, even though we've been kind of saying with your upper body 10 to 12, I would go more 12 to 15 here. This is more of like a single joint exercise. I like it for you because it's going to be more back of the shoulder as opposed to just lats. Now, in lieu of this, you could do your dumbbell pullover, or you could even do both. They're not really going to conflict because they kind of work at a little bit different angles. So we got your second pair or superset on this day would be your Bulgarian split squat and your TRX fly and or pullover. The next thing we've got is, and this is all kind of accessory stuff. Your dumbbell bicep curls any way you want to do them. And then that long seated reach. And Peter, this is this guy. And it doesn't, you can really any kind of anterior core work. The one that I've had you do and that I like for you is this guy where you're starting from the top down. You're going to set the ribs and the hips. You're going to lower on back. You're going to try to challenge those abs, make fists. Right? Just challenging that core. 20 sharp exhalations. Inhale and come up. Same thing. Set the ribs and hips. Lower on down. Find where you're challenging that core. Not the hip flexors, but the core. 20 sharp exhalations. And you'll do that 3 times. So that's a nice little pair. Bicep curls and a little bit of anterior core work. Again, that long seated reach or hard style sit up is how I've often referred to it for you. The other thing is you can always do some kind of crunch as well, like we've done, just firing up your abs. We've even had where your head's on the pad and just brace the core. Right, get that nice and engaged. Inhale, release. Often for you, that's been a great warm up. We've been using that in your warm up, which I like for you as well. Yep. Third superset, bicep curls, and that hard style sit up or some kind of crunch variation. So Peter, I'm going to stop this video. I'm going to send you another one with kind of your B. This is the A, or day A, and then I'll send you a video with B with the other program that, again, I would recommend. All right, I'll see you soon.